Show. Always Irish. Show. Always Irish. Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in, welcome back, folks, to it's been a weird year. It's just been a weird year. I don't know what else to say. Now that we're at the last one of these and I'm having the nostalgia of the early ones and the September ones and the misery of the Ohio State one and the misery of the Louisville one, it's just a weird year, man. Just a weird year. And good job by Notre Dame. Won by a lot, all that. But like frustrating, slow start on the road, end up blowing them out. Like it's just a frustrating year overall. And there's a lot to like in this game, but there's one big thing not to like. It's called, it didn't matter if you won 100-0, it isn't going to move the needle and you're not going to be in the playoff or whatever. It's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. It shouldn't feel like this. That's the only, that's what's sticking with me is it should feel a lot better to beat a team by that much. It should just feel different. And it doesn't because, you know, you got 3 losses. So here we are. And celebrated, I guess. Big win. Got to have the win. Got the win. Piled it on, all that. So let's get into this. We'll bring Pat in. We'll take a couple phone calls. I realize there ain't the normal juice. There ain't the normal juice. I've been saying this all week. This should be, late November should be your energy ramping up. It should be the crescendo of the energy and the vibes. What big game are we in? Who, all of that. And it's just, we didn't have that. We didn't have that. So I don't know, man. I'm just frustrated with, a lot of things overall. And it makes it hard to enjoy even a blowout when you look at it big picture. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to not enjoy a blowout win. All of that stuff. Oh, thank you for being here, though. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate that very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny Boy out, too. While my internet freezes, that helps John out, too. Notifications on that way you're alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Shake. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it to call-in lines. You know them. I show them. 312-988-15. You call it. Tell Johnny all the football things you've heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, all of that. Always Irish Shake. USA Today, Fighting Irish Wire. Read all about it, okay? Patreon.com/Always Irish. Former captain and myself, Mike Goolsby. We got good interviews coming up. We did Ty Isaac this week, the Flanagan family the week before. We're on a roll there. So go ahead and join up if you haven't yet. Appreciate everybody who has already. Let's bring in Pat. What's up, buddy?
Hi, John. How are you?
Pat.
Yeah.
I'm in a weird spot, bro. I'm in a weird spot. I want to be able to zoom in on this one game and look at a blowout and estimate doing great number. I want to love all that, but it's wrapped in the overall frustration of a year that didn't all come together the way we wanted, and it feels a little empty and like frustrating. That's where I'm at, and I don't like it. Like, my blood pressure never moved tonight because I'm frustrated past that point. And I wanted to mean more. I wanted to feel more. I wanted more on the line tonight. And so I'm in between trying to just enjoy a blowout and overall frustration. Where are you at?
It's kind of similar. Like I said, from the beginning, I wasn't one of those people that said this was a playoff team.
Callers, hang in there. I'm coming right to you. If you're there on the line, I'll get to you. I promise.
But it is a disappointing season nonetheless, because the way the season started, the way that Ohio State game was going. I mean, you thought through the 5-minute mark, that 5 minutes left in the Ohio State game, that Notre Dame was going to win, and then it all just kind of went to shit. The whole season just went to shit, and I think Freeman's got a problem and an opportunity. The first thing, and I don't want to do a whole season synopsis. I'm sure we'll probably do a show just for that. But he did something this year that he needed to do, which was not lose to the bad teams. And he did that. He improved on his win total. But there's a lot to desire from this football team right now.
Yeah,
a lot to desire. And
God, Pat, you're right on it.
It's 100% on Freeman now. It's not Brian Kelly. It's not Sam Hartman. It's not Parker. It's not Swabrick. It's not. You can't blame those people anymore. There's no more excuses for Marcus Freeman as this season wraps up. It is 100% going to be on him.
Yeah, there's some things he's got to clean up. Like, it's not as tight of an operation as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't, like, with a lot of different things. Like, it just needs to tighten up. And again, this is very hard in this moment, Pat, because there's going to be some people who are going to say, why are people in the chat complaining? Why? Well, you blew this team out. You won. You did what you, like, why? I get that people are going to say that, but now the regular season's over. I'm allowed to look at the big picture now if I want, right?
So there's two types of people in the chat that are complaining right now. The first one is the trolls, because it doesn't matter what they do, they're going to come here and complain. And then the second group are the emotional people who just react off emotion. Like I think it was Jaded Clay was like, give me Angeli. Then Angeli throws an interception, and he's like, I never want to see Angeli again, And I assumed it was a joke.
Yeah,
I assumed it was a joke, but there are definitely people who they react off of emotion.
Yeah,
they're not reacting off of any sort of reason and a step back assessment. So,
let's hit a couple of these chats.
Yeah.
Donnie delivers a $50 hour every week for the postgame show. Keeps the phone lines going. Donnie, I appreciate you. $2 hour from Steven. Thank you, Audric. Thank you, John. Go Irish. Yeah, Audric, I mean, it was an Audric game, and it was good to see. I would have liked to see him get a few more carries.
Again, my two biggest problems with this game tonight was the turnovers. Atrocious.
Yeah.
Hold on.
They had 10. Stanford had 10 turnovers they caused all year, and they almost got half of that in this one game against us. Slow starts on the road have been a thing all year, man.
Yeah. So those were just bad. I mean, that interception. Come on, dude. That's just bad.
Don't worry, man. First thing. Hey, he's going to clean that up in years 8 and 9. All right. Just relax.
Yeah. And then that first half, I know they scored a touchdown to end that first half, but what are you doing? Why is Estime not in the game? Why do you take out your running back who almost has 200 yards rushing in the first half that they cannot tackle? and they put in someone else. That's the kind of stuff that makes me think that the coaching staff is not serious. They're not serious, and so it's just so maddening and frustrating. I can't. I just can't help it. I don't know. They're just not serious about the personnel, the personnel decisions on offense is probably for me the most frustrating thing this year.
Yeah. Yeah, man, this is just a weird. It's just a weird overlapping and interweaving of thoughts and feelings in this moment. And I'm looking at the big journey of the year and the ups and the downs. And I guess the feeling, Pat, is like one of, you had hoped by the end of the final game, you felt more progress towards like whatever elite is than where we're at. Does that make sense? Like throughout the course of the year, you're building to something. And I just think people wanted, or I wanted a little bit more to feel like we were climbing that hill than we have this year. And it just feels like this year ended up kind of in no man's land a little bit. Like,
honest to God, go back. Brian Kelly's second year, Bob Davies, Charlie Weiss's second year, Ty Williams' second year. I don't remember Lou Holtz's second year, but it's a second year of a coach. This is what happens. You think it's going to be this really good football team, and they do things to that you can only blame but the team itself. Everything that happened, every game that Notre Dame lost, except for maybe the Louisville game, it was Notre Dame shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah. And
that's the mark of a second year Notre Dame team. I don't know why. I look at every coach's second year at Notre Dame. It's like
here's the other thing we need to talk about. And then I promise I'll go to the callers here and get the folks that are waiting and that donated.
And let me back on something real quick, because I made a comment and I'm getting attacked in the chat.
Okay.
I said there are two types of people in the chat. I'm not saying there's only two types of people. There's the trolls and there's the emotional people. Then the vast majority of you guys are fine. It's just when somebody just jumps in here and says, fire Freeman, he sucks. On what grounds would you fire a second-year head coach who just went 9-3?
Yeah.
What grounds? It's not a serious comment. It's just not serious.
It's frustration. And the other thing is big picture. I'm definitely not a guy who could sit here and go, oh yeah, no emotional reactions allowed. I made a show out of that. That's the only reason I'm sitting here is because of that,
But like, even though John, so I'm also my reaction to the Clemson game, even when you show emotion or I show emotion, it comes from a reasonable point of view. I was pissed about the fact that you kept putting in a running back who cannot block on third down passing
and
plays.
You kept doing it.
Yeah, and you kept doing it, and they did it again tonight. They did it. They were doing it again tonight. So it was an assessment I made of really poor coaching. And now, and other people are gonna be like, Pat never, it's always someone else's fault. It's never Freeman's fault. It's Freeman's fault. So you guys can attack me every which way you want. You don't impact me, but it's completely ridiculous to just the way some of you respond to this stuff. But whatever, go after it.
There is Freeman finds himself in a weird spot. I feel like there are parts of this team you could see where they're trending towards, and you like the area and the coaching and the depth and what you're getting. And there's a lot to like. And there's certain areas that do cause concern, and we're running out of like the new coach leeway, whatever that margin is. People are just about out of that strand of rope. And that's kind of where I say we got to tighten it up. Like we got to tighten the operation up, and like the patience level for some of the looseness is kind of going by through 2 years. And now people are ready to get serious. So, and you have, I don't know. You have big decisions too.
Go back to that happens with every coach. This isn't a unique thing to Marcus Freeman. I said for Kirby Smart, it took him 6 years. You think people were getting tired of him? Ryan Day has lost to only one team in the Big Ten. He's lost to one team, and he just happened to do it 3 times.
Yeah,
and they want him fired.
Yeah,
and I would kill for that level of success in Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Now I want to win. The one thing that Ryan Day hasn't shown he can do, which same thing Brian Kelly, is actually win it. But
Yeah, $10 holler from Brendan. Watching y'all from the firehouse. Didn't get to see much of the game. We've been busy. Improved from last year, but needs to be better. Bowl win is very important for me to finish this season strong. Hey, I would rather you be putting out the fires than watching me and Pat create them online. Okay, buddy? Keep protected and serving, all right? Keep protecting it. Keep protecting the area. I appreciate you very much. And it's very, very interesting when you're talking about the bowl game. If this ends up being an LSU 3-loss versus Notre Dame 3-loss thing, this is going to be it's going to be a buildup, and it's just not the one I wanted. I wanted that matchup when both of our fan bases and everybody involved could argue what new coach took over a program and we're getting to elite. I wanted it to be a battle of who's going to prove in this game they're the more elite, not who has 3 losses or who has 4. So we'll wait and see. But I wanted to catch Kelly when I could chirp and go, we're going to prove to you we got it going, cooking with Freeman, and we're elite and all that. It isn't going to be that even no matter how this goes, it isn't going to be that either way. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. I don't know. All right, Pat, let's get a couple of these calls in. 385, what's going on, man? Thanks for the donation.
Hey, John. First, I want to apologize about the last time I called. It was a real bad morning. It was a little emotional. So I love you. I love Pat. And I apologize to the fan base, if anything. But one thing I want to say about it. So I apologize, and I hope you guys can accept it. So I apologize about that.
Oh, that's okay, man. Everybody, we've all had rough nights on here. I've had many myself. I just had to turn you down, and you got it all out. I just had to turn you down last time.
You're okay, and I'm glad you did. 2 things, man. Not the regular season we wanted, but it was great to see Andre get that 4 touchdown record. It was amazing to see John Baptiste run that back, man. He's played like a beast the last 2 games. The one thing why I tell you, like, I met JD, your buddy. I met him at Notre Dame, man, and the excitement that me and him had together. I met him last week at the Wake Forest game. I went and got a home game in for my bucket list trip. And the excitement that me and him had for meeting each other from your program, man, it's like, I think if I hope the rest of the fan base or the program has that, I think we're in good shape moving forward. I do think that a 10-win season will kind of hopefully salvage those 3 losses. I know it's the toilet bowl or whatever bowl the fan base likes to say, but man, like I really do think we're the greatest fan base in all of college football, man. I mean,
hey, I'm glad you were able to meet up with JD, man. Really good guy. And it's just nice to see people connect through the show and our love for Notre Dame. It's a beautiful thing, man. Growing the community.
It is, man. And the one thing I just want to say, man, to the fan base, and I want to just thank you and Pat and the rest of us. And I think we'll be okay moving forward. Angeli looked really good, man, against Wake Forest. And I know they weren't pretty beginnings or pretty wins, but they were wins that we needed moving forward, especially for Freeman. Here's the one thing I just want to say. I coached for Cottonwood High School, and you can ask Goldsby, you can look into this. Cooper Bateman was the number 2 recruited quarterback coming out of the country, high school football. And he was recruited by Nick Saban in Alabama. Now, he has 3 national titles, and he played for the high school I coached at. When he got to Alabama, he couldn't do anything. And when he came back to Utah didn't play him. I think they played him on but Alabama, he was a long time. The reason I say that is because everybody's a critic, man. Everybody's a critic, and you really don't know until these boys actually get there. And at the end of the day, there's some more young men and some more meant to be, Tony Rice's, Jalen Hurst, Michael Vick's, and some of them are not. And for those that are not, I think we got the perfect coach that's not just creating better athletes, but better men. Like I've said before, he's a devout husband. He's a good father. He he teaches our kids about the military because his father was a military man. To me, that's important. To me, that's important as a father if I'm getting my son recruited. And the reason I tell that to people, because as a former coach, I just say football will one day end. And I just ask, the reason I say this, and I just sorry, it's like Pat said, some of us are emotional. My friend Peter and his daughter that I went to meet, they're from upstate New York. We went and he had that bucket list trip for him. On Wednesday morning, his wife passed away, before Thanksgiving. And he just got done seeing Notre Dame football, at home for the first time in his life, being a fan of 50 years. And I just, there's things that at times I know we get emotional about, but I'm proud that the university has a coach that's teaching the boys to be better athletes, but better men, because things in life do happen. They do happen outside the field. And I think that to me as a man, it's important for that. And as a fan, so not to get off subject, but like I said, I hope we end up 10-3. I had a great time. I love the fan base. I think we're the greatest fan base in the world. I love your show. I love what you and Pat got to say. Even the guys that disagree with me, I know if we met up at Notre Dame, I'd buy them a beer and, vice versa. Man.
Yeah.
So,
hey, man, you're all good. You're all
good,
good, man. And I appreciate you finding the show and being loyal to it and meeting up with our people when you're in South Bend. And, it's kind of a special thing you got to do in your trip. And it was bigger than just on the field and all that. And it's really good to have that perspective, man.
Yeah, and that's important to me. So, next year, let's go 12-0 and let's get into that playoff.
There you go,
let's
man.
Win this bowl. Let's win this bowl. Let's enjoy the Irish won that thing. Hopefully everybody has a good Christmas and holidays. John, if the fan base could just please keep my buddy Peter and Alexa in prayer. They just lost their mother and wife. They were with me last Saturday at the weight game there. I appreciate it. Love you guys. John, keep up the great work. Love the Goolsby and Kennedy show. Love Pat too, man. Onward Notre Dame, buddy.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a good night. Thank you for calling. I appreciate that. Man, that guy loves Notre Dame, and he seems to like us, Pat.
I don't know why. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Either, but he's got a lot of loyalty for us.
Yeah.
765, make it come alive. Thanks for the donation, brother. I appreciate you. What's going on?
Hey, John. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. Really happy with with the result tonight. You did what you should do, beat the hell out of Stanford, shut down the Pac-12 network. Although, did they have to do the full eulogy and funeral on the air the whole time, naming every person? And then the stat girl from 12 years ago that handed me this sheet, like, bro, that's one of those things where you just say thank you to everybody and that umbrella covers everybody and we move on. I thought that was kind of funny.
That was pretty comical.
Yeah.
So your overall assessment of the year, what do you think? What if you had to give Notre Dame a grade? What grade would you give them?
Pat, that's a good question. I want you to think of this too. I don't know. B minus? Like, it can't be an A. It can't be a regular B when you went 9-3 the way you did. But I still think it was not like average, C plus, B minus. That range.
I would
grader.
I'm a B. I'm a B.
I agree with you. I'd say C plus.
Yeah, B minus, C. I don't know.
Yeah, I say C plus. I think we were. In the beginning of the year, we were thinking B plus, A minus at the low end, A, because we had Hartman coming in here and got sold that bag of goods, which I drank the Kool-Aid. I'll admit to that.
Hey, we drank the Kool-Aid together at that event, the NIL event, man. That was the hope. It was the most hope we've ever had in that parking lot. Where did that go?
Since 93, you are correct. Since 93,
man.
you're correct. That was That was fun, though. I hope you put another good event like that together next year. That was a fun event. It really was. No matter how it turned out, it was a great event. You did a great job.
Well, thank you. What's your grade? Where do you fall on this?
I say C plus.
Yeah.
I say C plus. But then you think about it, and to be honest with you, John, I want to digress here just for a second. I tell you, I was watching the early games. And I saw Kelly, he was behind and then he pulled it out. And then Alabama, oh my God, that sucked.
Yeah.
And then, watching the Michigan game, I was like, holy crap, I'm getting scared for the 7:00 game for the Irish. It was like, man, is this the way that this day is going to go?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Nothing was breaking my way. Nothing was breaking our way, or the way I wanted it, at least.
Yeah, nothing was breaking our way, right? I want to see Alabama get beat. I want to see anyway. I was like, oh my gosh, what's tonight going to bring? But we all knew. We kind of predicted this, because I listen to your every show. I'm at work. I can't. I listen to you, but I can't get on my phone at work. But we kind of predicted it's going to be a slow start, and then they're just going to blow them away. We all knew that was the way it was going to go. And, I was pretty upset the first quarter because Freeman, in his press conference, said, I'm going to take full responsibility. The guys will be ready to go and ready to play. They didn't look like it in the first quarter.
Yeah, the road starts have been a problem this year, and some of them they're able to overcome because of the competition, and others, they're not, and it ended up hurting us. But I can't put a finger on why you have those slow starts. I don't know if that is a mentality. I don't know if you're preparing differently for the road. I don't know, but it's been a problem all year. They got to figure that out. You can't go in these road environments and play bad out of the gate and then expect to overcome it all the time. So that's an ongoing thing on the radar.
Yeah, that's tough. That's something back in the, in the 80s, you had to give Miami. The Hurricanes, though I hate them.
Yeah.
Hated them back then. They play one, man. They were ready to go.
Yeah.
And they showed their dominance.
It's a different, it was a different mentality. It feels like, I don't know, man. It just, this year's hard. I need to really sit and just soak all this in, the highs and the lows, and what could have been if you made one more play against Ohio State. How would the rest of the year have played out differently? All these end of year questions are now flooding into my brain. It's a dangerous thing.
It's been a crazy year. It's been a roller coaster year, but we are improving slowly. I feel like, Freeman's, he's definitely winning the recruiting battle, and we got to, here's the thing. Everybody wants to get Freeman, let Freeman go and all that. You know what? We have to give him another 2 years. I say we got to give every coach 5 years. I know they didn't give Willingham 5 years.
But listen, you can be as frustrated as you want. Nobody's saying fire Freeman. That it really makes no sense. The administration doesn't hire a young guy on his first head coaching job and then fire him after 2 years. That cannot be the plan. People need to realize I get as frustrated as anybody. Do I really have to stand up for the way I get frustrated with everything and always wanting Notre Dame to be better at everything? But even in my most frustrating times, I got to admit, it makes no sense. That's totally unrealistic. You don't hire a young guy like that. There's going to be a learning curve and only give him 2 years. So I get that that's a frustrating thing people want to say. It's just not reality, though. It's not reality. Even if they went 500 both years, it's not reality, I don't think. You would have to be really, really bad and off the field, and you would have to have all sorts of problems. You don't do this. You can't do that. And you're definitely not going to do it after 9-3. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. He is improving. You can see it. Sometimes you got to look hard, but you can't see the improvement in the team. And we got to give him a chance to get his recruits in and give him some time to get acclimated.
Yeah.
And, Golden's defense, they say year 3 is when that defense, because the guys really understand it and everything from what I've been hearing. And, so next year, our defense this year, what would you grade? Here you go, John. What would you grade our defense this year?
I got to give them probably an A minus. They are not the reason we lost any game. And even when they looked bad against Clemson and Louisville, particularly, if the offense could have done anything with the ball or even eaten up time, those guys would have looked way better. I don't think the defense is the reason we lost any of these games. And therefore, I got to give them a passing grade.
I do too. I give them an A minus as well. Now the offense, I think I give them C minus D.
Yeah.
Personally, that's my grade for them, because look at the Clemson game. What was it? Six possessions in a row.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get a freaking first down from the 11-yard line.
Yeah. And now you got the big decision, man. You got the big decision now. If Freeman wants to, he could get up there tomorrow morning and go, listen, we're averaging right around 40 points a game, breaking Notre Dame records. We're going to get better next year. We're running it all back. And how can anybody question it? We got 40 points a game almost going to be their average. And then people are going to say, but against all the good teams, you average 19 points. Make that make sense to me. You don't play good offensive football against real defenses. That's going to be a tricky decision. So that's coming up for Freeman, and I don't know what to expect.
Well, the challenge I see with that is when they play a decent team with a good defense, they just play so damn conservative.
Yeah, they do. They really, really do. And that's been an issue.
And that's when they need to get aggressive. That's when you need to get aggressive on those guys.
I've said that as well. When you're in one of those games, that's when you need to do more, not less, because you're not elite enough to do less and execute it against the best teams. I agree with you, but they've got it so conservative and scared to take risks. And you're going to have to do those in the biggest games to win some of them. You're going to have to take risks. So Freeman's got a lot of decisions to make in reflection and things to think about here. And there's a lot of work to be done, man. This offseason is going to be wild again. You got a lot of things to pull together and tighten up here, and big decisions. The OC's a big decision. Yeah. Transfer quarterback's a big decision. Anybody coming and going. So I don't know, man. There's just a lot going on in Notre Dame land. We're going to have another full winter off season. That's for sure.
I'm glad you brought up the OC because, the first 6 games or so, I was, okay, Parker's doing well. And here's one thing, and I'm changing my mind about this. I hated Parker there for a while on some of the losses. But as I watch some of the other shows and these guys that are X's and O's guys and whatnot, which I'm not, and I know you say you're not, but I agree with you what you said last week, all of this last week. We needed that kickoff,
Yeah.
We needed that during Ohio State or
Louisville
Clemson or one of the big games. Of the big games,
I know. It frustrated
and they just play
me.
so damn conservative.
It really
and
frustrated
the thing about
me.
Parker is, and I agree with you, and I'm not an X's and O guy, but I remember back in the day, when Jeff Jeffers used to call on WNDU in South Bend, he'd say, well, okay, they're going to play this play to set up this. That's one thing you don't see Parker doing. Yeah. Now, maybe year 2, because I expect him to be back. I really do expect him to be back. Maybe this next year, he'll get some kind of that going, maybe get the juices flowing a little bit and say, okay, I need to get a game plan going here, he's got a whole, few months, 6 months to think about it or get it going. But that's one thing you don't see with Parker is, okay, I'm going to throw this play to set up this play.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like he's so worried about trying to find the first one and make it work. There's no extra thought to be able to string 2 to 3 to 4 together down the road. And that's a part of the developmental issue. And that's why a lot of people are going to say that's why you can't afford to have a head coach learning on the fly and an OC also learning on the fly. It's too much learning on the fly. So I don't know, man. But listen, Donnie, I appreciate you, man. You've been loyal supporter. It was great to meet you. You're always donating. Anything else, my friend, to give you the final word?
Yeah, I got one thing. So with that, what you just said, with them both learning on the fly, dude, a lot of teams out there in college football would take our season, especially with the challenges we've had with a new head coach, a new OC. I don't know, man. Maybe we should just back off a little bit and let them, let them learn a little bit. Maybe we're too tough of critics. I don't know.
Man, you're gonna have a lot of people that I think agree with you, and you're gonna have a lot of people that their stomach turned over when you just said that. Where are your standards? You're gonna find people on both sides of that line, I bet.
True. Hey, John, appreciate your show. Thank you very much, and we'll see who we play in the bowl game.
Yeah, if it's Kelly, it's going to be an interesting run up. Thank you for all the support, my friend. You've been here every show, and I appreciate you for it.
Oh, no problem. And I don't want it to be Kelly. I agree with you. I want Kelly when it means something. I just don't want to put all that effort into who's gonna get their 10th win. I just don't want it to be that.
Well, we'll see how it's gonna shape out. Hey, thank you, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Okay.
Hey, thanks, John. See you, Pat.
Have a good one, buddy. Oh, what a nice guy.
So my B, I gave it a B. Okay. But people that are freaking out because I gave it a B. Understand where I'm coming from. I said this team would go 9-3 this year. I said they would. I called it. My disappointments are Hartman.
But wait now. Wait. Just because you pick them to have a record doesn't mean that you're happy with the record. What if you said 7-5? Does that mean you're going to go, happy with 7-5?
Because I had expectations.
The record doesn't mean that you're happy with it. Those are different things.
No, I'm not
totally
happy with
unrelated.
It, but I had expectations. And certain expectations were met. Other expectations were not met. Overall, I think offense regressed. Bad, not good. Defense, I thought defense was going to be a complete failure to start this season. I was super worried about the defense. Phenomenal. I wouldn't give it an A, the defense. Maybe an A-. Just because there was the Louisville game, there was the
How
Clemson
dare
game.
You? Where do you get off saying a team averaging 40 points is trending backwards on offense?
Because half the points were scored by the defense. Special teams wasn't bad. They weren't great either. They weren't great either. But
I needed the block punt for a touchdown against
Ohio State. But they had a lot of block field goals.
Yeah.
They had a lot of blocked field goals, and they were trending up near the end of this season. You take away that one fumble, I guess there was a fumble today in special teams as well. You take those two out of it, and you had a pretty good year in special teams. So there were things that this team did that exceeded my expectations. You didn't lose to a Marshall or a Stanford.
Yeah,
that was a high level goal for me. They lost to exactly who I thought they would lose to. I didn't expect Clemson to be as bad as they were.
Yeah,
but it's still a Clemson football team. It's still a Dabo Sweeney coach team.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, on Twitter,
that's why I'm comfortable with a B.
All the rumors on Twitter tonight were saying Dabo's in the mix for Texas A&M. I don't know whether that's real or not, but I saw a bunch.
I don't think that's real. I don't think it's real at all because Texas A&M. It sounds like they're going. Well, first of all, what did you hear? Thamel this morning said that there's a lot of infighting right now. The boosters. This is why Texas A&M will never win, because the boosters who gave all the money to buy out. It is when I do a thumbs up. You see, it popped up. It was because of my thumb. The boosters that put all the money in to do the buyout, they're all sticking their noses in, saying they want they want to have a say on who the next. Why
don't I get one of them?
So there's a lot of I don't know. There's a lot of infighting going at Texas A&M right now.
Yeah, over who they're going to spend the next money on to fire the next guy.
Hey, thanks, Jack. Appreciate that.
Tom, Chris, $20 holler. I understand you guys are going to be in town soon, Tom, Chris, for another autograph signing. We won big. Still disappointed in the season to date. And why didn't Minchie get to play? Keep it up, John and Pat. I know it's looking ahead. But are you planning a tailgate for the spring game? You're damn sure we are. We're just going to hope it ain't sleeting and snowing this time. But we're going to go again for damn sure.
See, now it's not doing it.
That's weird, dude. What do you got? AI over there? A ghost or what?
I don't know.
Jack, thank you, Jack. John and Pat, thank you for everything this year. Let's win the national championship next year.
A&M did hire Stoops.
Know that feeling.
Did A&M hired Stoops? Wow. Yeah, I never thought, like, people were saying, they're going to go after a big...
about?
A&M hired Stoops.
Come on, are they just saying that? What Stoops?
Mark.
Really? I've not seen that.
Kentucky's Mark Stoops to be hired as Texas A&M head coach to replace Jimbo Fisher.
Interesting.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought it would be like an Urban Meyer or something like that. I always thought I'm really surprised by Stoops. I didn't see that one coming. But.
Me neither. 570. What do you know? What's going on, Tony? Good to catch up with you, buddy.
Hey, John. Hi, Pat. Good to see you and good to talk to you.
You too.
And thank God the regular season is over. It's been a
wild journey. What a wild journey indeed it has been, man. We've been up and down and all around, and I'm trying to make it all make sense in my heart and my head to find an accurate representation of this year. It was just kind of a weird year.
Yeah, it has been. And the first thing I'd like to say is I agree with almost everything both you guys say, and don't think I don't. And it's been a roller coaster ride. You know my connection.
Yeah,
it's been difficult. It's been wonderful. It's been great. It's been terrible.
All of it, and in a very short a time span too. You've hit all those emotions.
And I agree with what you say, and I've shared that, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I appreciate your voices. I appreciate what you say. I appreciate the support. But the regular season's over, and let's move on, and we'll see what happens going forward. I agree with you, John, that I would not like to see a bowl game with LSU at this point, because I agree that we should play them when we both have something on the line.
Now, Tony, let me ask this, though. When I've made that opinion, I've gotten pushback of people saying, John, don't be scared. You're the one running your mouth about Kelly, not liking him, not missing him, and now you sound scared. It's just that when I pictured this dynamic, it was like a playoff type vibe or some level of elite up on the line, and both of us were feeling like our team had that and wanted to prove it against the other guy. And it's just, you're not going to have that juice if it's 3 losses and 3 losses. Maybe LSU's quarterback doesn't play because he's going to the league. Like, there's just a lot of nuance there that taints what I wanted that first matchup to feel like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I want that first matchup to be head-to-head, 100% players, 100%
right
on the line,
and elite
100%
on the line. The argument of elite, and whoever wins it could stake that claim and plant that flag, and I want that too. But it's going to be a media storm if that is the matchup for the next month. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, you're right, and oh, by the way, it doesn't deserve that media storm, but it will be.
But that will be
because of what it is.
Yeah, it will be. But man, what a wild journey this ride's been, man. We have been all over the map. And to be able to feel the energy of this fan base week to week, month to month, every time we do this, you feel those vibes. They are alive, man. You feel the collective group. Wherever they're at, you feel it. It's wild, man. It's a living thing. Like when you're in this fandom, man, it's just that big of a deal to that many people.
Well, you're right. And it's been quite a roller coaster for me, considering I'm not a lifelong Notre Damer, but it's been a roller coaster, and it's been fun, but it's also been it's been difficult at times.
I bet,
as
man.
You understand.
I think about you guys. I'm like, man, I hope they just had a Thanksgiving dinner, cracked a couple bottle of wines, and just let the world go by. You guys deserve that.
Well, we had a Thanksgiving dinner. We had 15, but we had kids. We didn't have adults.
Gotcha.
You can imagine, they're on their way. They're on their way, and it is what it is. But we have kids, and a lot of fun. They're still here, heading home tomorrow. But I appreciate all you think and say. And John, I agree with you and Pat wholeheartedly. Don't ever think that you're offending me by what you say. I live and die with the team right now, but I also understand that, hey, there are deficiencies and they need to be corrected, and there are a lot of big decisions to be made, and I'm just hoping and praying that the person that's going to make those decisions makes the right ones.
Tony, that means a lot to me. Yeah, that means that it does. Yeah, it means a lot to us, though, that you see it that way, given your unique role in all this. We just want Notre Dame to be good. That's all, man. That's all I think about all day.
And I want Marcus Freeman to be the guy that makes it.
Yeah, we want Freeman to be the guy, man. We want Freeman to be the guy. We just need that's what we want, man.
Well, I can't disagree with that, can I?
No, you certainly cannot, sir. You cannot.
And I sent you a text the other night, John, about your Patreon about the Rudy thing, and my situation. I'm not a lifelong Notre Dame fan, but when I saw your emotion and listened to that clip that was on the cutting room floor, I seriously had tears in my eyes, and I grew up in the coal regions of Pennsylvania, where the Irish were the linchpin of what was done in the coal regions of Pennsylvania and the struggles they had. And I have so many Irish American friends back in Eastern Pennsylvania, and what they went through, and just the way your emotion came out with that, where it's when Notre Dame wins, it's a win for us.
Yeah.
And that was so touching. And so I had tears in my eyes, John.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. I knew people would love that, and I'm glad I put it out. It hit me like a ton of bricks, and it summed the whole thing up perfectly, better than I ever could put it into words, man. I'm glad that it's reaching people, and I'm glad that this whole Notre Dame thing has reached you now too, man. It's going to be a piece of you forever now. You'll never get rid of it, no matter what happens in the future.
Yeah, I was out at the Wake Forest game last week. I sat all by myself in the stadium, and I have connections, but I don't have connections, and someday we'll talk about that. But, I bought a ticket and sat all by myself in the stadium, but I also shared with you my family history with my dad and how he felt about certain things, but this has been a great ride, and you've been a big part of it. Your passion and Pat's passion and the emotion. It's been a great ride, and I really appreciate it. It's only been 2 years, but it's been a great ride.
Hey, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And we're glad to have met you and have you in the fold, and being at the tailgate was a riot. And, it's great, man. We're one big Irish family. We ride this wave together, whether we're happy, miserable, or in the middle.
Yeah, like you said, it's, and I never realized it. It's hard being a Notre Dame fan.
Yeah. Well, it is when you're my age. It is when you're my age, because I missed the window. I missed the winning window. But you know what? It drives me to keep doing this, to be able to feel that. Like, that's the goal. That's why I do this. My dream is to do one of these post-game shows when Notre Dame's winning things that matter, and we can all cry together on the air. That's what I want it to be, damn it.
And don't ever stop. And Pat, you be the ultra ego and rub it in all you can, because you're good at it.
There we go.
You're like the you're like the black swan in the white swan family.
Oh man, but it's been a journey this year, man. It's a lot to process for me. I'm struggling right now. I just have all these full season thoughts in my brain, man. It's what a ride, and here we are for it all. Appreciate you, Tony.
I appreciate you guys, and thanks a lot, and God bless, and go Irish.
There you go, man. Thanks a
Tony.
lot, Tony.
Take care.
Hopefully we'll see you soon, buddy. Have a good one. Oh, what a nice guy. If anybody picked up on it, that's a unique caller. If you've been listening if you've been listening over the times and you know his voice and you know when he calls, he's got a different delivery and a different angle on everything. And he may or may not be related to people that are involved with that.
We'll just say he's inside.
Tony's on the inside. That's all we're
very, very, very inside.
Very on the inside.
It just shows the reach of Always Irish. Hey, real quick, I want to address something now that we know that.
By inside, I mean like you can't get any further inside.
Yeah. Now that we know that Stoops is going to A&M, everybody's in the chat saying Golden's going to go be his defensive coordinator.
Ooh, there you go. 224. Andrew, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up, John? How's it going, man?
Good, man. I'm Andrew, you know the way my brain gets clouded with a million things at once. And I'm sitting here and I just don't know how to process all this. The regular season's over. There's a lot to like and there's a lot we don't like. Where are you at on this, on the final eve of the regular season?
Well, I think, first of all, the last couple of callers have been some of the nicest people ever. I'm kind of sad that you picked up on me because I'm going to hit you with a little dose of reality, I feel like.
Oh, good. Hey, we need a balance here, baby. It can't be all nice and then the season's over. Let's all cry how nice everybody is. Ruin the vibe, Andrew. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think that, I called in. I called in earlier this week and I talked about how, I'm a Red Sox fan, and in 2003, they fired Grady Little, the manager, who took them all the way to Game 7 of the ALCS, and they lost in dramatic fashion. The reason why is they had expectations that year. They built a team that they thought could win a World Series, and that guy blew it. So the idea that we would give a grade to Notre Dame that's anything less than an F for this year is ridiculous, because we're Notre Dame. We are not Oklahoma State. We're not Kansas State. We're not some middling Power 5 football team. We're not going to, if we go and win the Gator Bowl this year, are we going to have a ring ceremony for the Gator Bowl? Are we going to raise the banner for winning the Gator Bowl this year?
But wait.
We had expectations this year. And you know who set those expectations, John? Marcus Freeman himself. And how do I know that? I read everything related to Notre Dame. He went around telling everybody, this is the team that's going to put him what's he going to say? Really,
what's he going to say? We're not going to win with this team?
No. I'll answer that.
This is next year's the team.
What is he going to say? 859. By the way, 859. You're next. 859. Hang on the line. 859.
I'll answer that. You guys are dead. You guys are both wrong. I'll answer that. A second-year coach who does not think that he has a shot at a playoff will try to make the case that, hey, I'm rebuilding. And he even tried to pull that the first year after he lost a few games. He said, hey, remember, am I wrong about this, John? After he lost a couple games the first year, he said, hey, this is a roster in transition. We're rebuilding. And in fact, Tyler Horka from Blue and Gold sort of called him out on that, saying, hey, that's not what you were saying at the beginning of the year. But year two, he was saying, this is the team that he has a tons of 5 and 6 year players on the team. He goes out, he rolls the dice, goes out and gets Sam Hartman. He thought this was going to be the year. And then he goes out. And then the other thing that is just so, like, why they get an F is you get Ohio State. Okay. So Ohio State, if you play them anytime in the last 15 to 20 years, you're going to get a juggernaut team. And we've seen that. Remember the Ohio State team that beat us in the Fiesta Bowl with Charlie Weiss? We had a really good team that year with Brady Quinn and so on. That team was loaded. It was a loaded team. And then even the team we played last year, that was a loaded team, had CJ Stroud as the quarterback. This year, it was a mortal Ohio State team, a very beatable Ohio State team, an Ohio State team that was at home under the lights. And we lose. So we lose not because our players didn't even show up either. They played a great game. We lost because of the coaching. The coaching lost that game. So you get an F. And I'm sorry, we shouldn't sugarcoat it. We're not some middling team. We should have standards at Notre Dame. And I don't care. This is not an internship where you learn on the job. We expect to win, especially if you're telling us you're going to win. And we don't come up with excuses either. So I'm really sick of that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let Pat respond to you, and then I'll see what he says, and then I have a response.
I understand your point. My question was, an F to me means the coach needs to be fired. That's an F to me. If it is an F, it's you got to get rid of the coach. You can't have it. I do have a standard for Notre Dame, and that standard is for them to win a national championship. But I have also a reasonable expectation that a second-year head coach in his second season at Notre Dame, where like a second-year head coach like Brian Kelly, or a second-year head coach like Lou Holtz, or a second-year head coach like Eric Parsegian couldn't win national championships. I'm not expecting Marcus Freeman to win a national championship because that's just not the standard that's been established through the 130-year history of Notre Dame football.
Are you done? Or am I allowed to respond?
Go ahead.
Have at it.
Yeah. Well, you know what's such BS, and no offense, Pat, I really like your opinions on stuff, but I'm shocked that you're going this route. But you know what's such BS about that opinion is literally ever since I've listened to John and since you've been involved, you have blasted Brian Kelly for not winning anything, for taking
13 years
to as high as they could,
which
included 3, count the BCS title games, 3 playoff situations,
3 blowout losses.
You're gonna sit here and tell me that you're okay. You're gonna give some sort of passing grade to going 9-3 with a team that we had, an experienced team that we had, and we played a schedule that we played. Like, I don't buy that we played this ridiculous schedule. Louisville lost today to Kentucky. Ohio State has been beatable all season long. The Big Ten is not good. And in fact, I think Notre Dame might be a better team than Michigan. I think they might be better. But the thing that's holding them back is the coaching. That's what's holding them back. If they had adequate coaching, they could very well be in the Final Four right now and with a chance. So I think you guys are being way too soft. I get why you guys like Freeman. He's a good guy, but I think you need to wake up. You don't win championships winning you don't win championships winning the recruiting rankings or a press conference. You win championships by going out and winning games. And I'll even go one further, and I'll shut up after this, that Notre Dame needs to be more like Michigan. They're a tough team. They are tough, and they're salty, and they go out.
Who's doing that?
Ohio State. We should be more like them. Absolutely.
All right, Andrew. Do I get my turn?
Hold on. No, I'm not.
All right, Pat. Let Pat finish, and then I want to give my little take on your thing. Go ahead, Pat.
The idea that, first of all, I gave Brian Kelly 12 years. I wanted Brian Kelly gone after. I gave him like 7 years, 6-7 years. It was when he turned around and went 4-8 is when I was done with Brian Kelly, because that wasn't a standard. And then the other thing that pushed Brian Kelly out was because he couldn't do it. He got blown out every time he got on that stage. That was my problem with Brian Kelly. And I don't like Marcus Freeman because he's a good guy, but because he's the antithesis of Brian Kelly, because he actually cares about Notre Dame and he cares what he's doing. And he is doing the effort that I hated about that Brian Kelly didn't do. He's putting the effort into the places that Brian Kelly didn't do. I totally understand and accept that he's a new head coach and he has a lot to learn. He has a ton to learn. And I was willing to accept that. His leash is getting shorter. I've been saying it all year long, especially after the Ohio State game. His leash, I can't even say the word now, is getting shorter. It's getting shorter. The pressure is building. He has to win next year. He has to be in the playoff next year, and it can't be I sneak in as the 12th team playoff. He's got to be in the top 6. I would think top 5. That's my position. Go ahead, John.
All right. Andrew, when you started, I still got you, right? You still there?
Yeah. I'm still here.
When you started on your point and you went into the grading saying that it has to be an F, and then you went to the framing that Freeman even put expectations on this, I want to ask you, does your grade always have to have some sort of framework or like that kind of setup, or can it just be the results overall? Or you, I'm trying to ask how much that framing matters.
Well, yeah, it's always.
Or was
yes,
that like, or was that the kicker
always,
to your point? Because you knew somebody would say something back to you and you could go, don't yell at me. The head guy said it. Like, I'm trying to figure out where the framing thing comes in. Because I'm going somewhere with this.
Great question. I think when you're at Notre Dame, it's always graded on a curve. It's you have different expectations than everybody else. It's sort of like asking, it's kind of like Aaron Boone for the New York Yankees saying, "Hey, why is everybody giving me crap? I make the playoffs, every couple of years. Like I'm better than the typical MLB managers. Like, no, you coach the Yankees. It's a championship. So I'm not going to say Notre Dame is quite the Yankees, but we are definitely have huge expectations. And if you tell the press that you think this is a championship caliber team, then we should believe you. You're the coach of Notre Dame football. I remember Notre Dame football fans getting down on Lou Holtz. I mean, me and my brother were talking about this over Thanksgiving. It's like we have this like nostalgia about Lou Holtz, which I love Lou Holtz and everything. But people need to remember when Lou Holtz started losing after the 1993 season, people started saying he's antiquated. There was a sort of a quiet campaign to say, hey, should we move on and get a more a coach that gets us into the 21st century? Then we had Bob Davies. He was on the hot seat like immediately. Tyrone Willingham got fired before at the end of year 3 after he had a promising first year. Charlie Weiss was on the hot seat practically the entire time he was there. It's like, what has happened to Notre Dame? Like we've gone soft or something like that. We've got to have expectations, or else we will end up like Nebraska.
Andrew, here's the main thing that's in my brain. I always say, and you've been watching me a while, I don't do this show for Notre Dame to go 9-3, 8-4, be playing in games that don't matter late in the year. Like, it is genuinely hard for me to have the same vigor that I want to naturally have when we're playing a string out of games that aren't going to move the needle. That's not what November college football is supposed to be. And that's very upsetting for me. But here's kind of a philosophical issue with the F. What doesn't get an F? Would it have been make the playoff but not win a game? Like where? Because I've long been a guy, there is no division to win. There's no conference to win. You got to win a championship or bust at Notre Dame. But the problem I have with that is if you just say anytime we don't win it all, then it's an F, that's tough to grade because then every year since 88 would be a fail. And then I can't really judge the gradients of where it is within the F if everything that's not a title is an automatic F. Like, we could say that, but it doesn't give us good markers of where you're closer everything under the umbrella that isn't is an F. Do you get what I mean, though?
I get what you mean, but I don't think that you're thinking hard enough about this particular year. And the reason why I say that is, like, think about a game that you always bring up, the USC Notre Dame game from 2005.
Yeah.
I remember you always talk about how that really bothers you. In a weird way, that game does not bother me nearly as much as other Notre Dame losses because Notre Dame left it all out on the field. It was a real fluke way that they lost that game.
That's a fair point.
They played as good as they played as good a game as they could have possibly.
You could argue that they played up. They played out of their asses that night because they didn't have the talent of 05 USC.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
USC was an historically great team. Ohio State was a historically average team in Ohio State standards. I'm not. They're still a great team. I'm not saying that they're not like they're probably a top 5 team this year, but other Ohio State teams have played Notre Dame that are way better than that Ohio State team. And the only reason why we lost is because we put 10 guys on the field with the coaches who lost the game. If we had 11 guys on the field, we probably win that game at the end. So that's why they get an F.
You can't say that.
And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, do you get though why I'm saying it's hard to just do if you don't win it all, it's an F, because then where's your gradient level?
Yeah, I'm not, but do you really think that that's what I'm saying? Like, if we lost some hard fought games, do you think I'm really calling in? You're saying it's an F?
That's fair. I'll give you that's fair.
Yeah.
I'll give you that's fair. I will. I'll give you that.
We lost because we have the talent and our coaches failed the talent. We have the talent. And this is the other thing too, is I was a big defender of Al Golden when everybody was crapping on him for not like going out and recruiting and stuff like that, because I like veteran coaches. But you know what? I'll even say this, and people will disagree, but I'll even say this. I am not as impressed with Al Golden as everybody else. And the reason why I say that is the whole reason why our defense is good is that our cornerbacks can cover man-to-man at all times, anytime of year. So any defensive coordinator is going to look like a genius because our corners can just D up, and so you can blitz basically on every single down.
That's a fair point.
It's like, if Al Golden bails, it's like I actually think Minkins is probably the more valuable coach out of the two, because he's like clearly coached up these corners. It's unbelievable. So it's like they have so much talent. Like, this is a year where Notre Dame was legitimately like on the same level as Ohio State. When could we ever have said that? And then we lost because of the coaching. So to me, that's an F, man. There's no reason why Notre Dame should have.
So let me ask this one. Andrew, let me ask you a question then. So you're saying an F, it's like coaching malpractice. It's an F because of coaching. Are you saying Notre Dame needs to change?
What's that? I'm sorry. Sorry. The audio isn't great. Yeah.
Are you saying Notre Dame needs to change their coach?
Yes, 100%. I mean, and honestly, it's for Freeman. It's like a lot of people think that I'm like a hater on Freeman or something like that. He should change the OC for his own sake.
And no, I'm talking about Freeman himself. I'm saying, do you want Notre Dame to fire Freeman?
Nah, I wouldn't go that far. Although I'll say that with these job openings right now, and you hear the names that are interested in the job, there's a lot of talented coaches out there, like really, really talented coaches. And why that matters, especially in the NIL era, is that you might not even have to recruit that as hard as you used to have to recruit. Because like, look at Sam Hartman. He was coming to Notre Dame because of the money. So it's like, if the money's there, like imagine a guy like Lance Leipold at Kansas, who's taken the worst program in Division I history and it's made them into more than respectable. Imagine him with where he doesn't even need to recruit. Like basically you just have boosters recruit for you. I mean, that's scary. So like there is an argument to be made that we made the wrong call to go with a recruiting oriented guy, especially if our NIL boosters could just recruit for us. But no, I'm not at firing Freeman yet. I want to give him a chance. But if he doesn't fire Parker and our offense sucks next year, it's on him. And you can't say, "Oh, give me a mulligan." And,
no.
I agree.
No, we're all on board with that one.
Yep.
We're all on board on that one. We've already talked about it. If he doubles down on the Parker experiment, that is his choice. But I'm going to come on here and go, as much as I backed you and made a T-shirt for you, I can't help you on this one. And if this one takes the whole ship down, there's not a damn thing I can do to defend it. That is an active decision that he's going to make. And then if it brings him down, that's just the cost of playing that game. There's no defending it if he does that and it doesn't go well. Nobody could help him and nobody could defend him. That's a big choice he's going to have to make.
Cool. Well, hey, I don't want to take up more of your time because I'm sure you've got a lot of callers. I do want to commend them for a big win. Audric Estime, I will say that if Audric Estime was like if he was born in a different era, like can you imagine if he was a running back in the 1980s or the 1990s, he would be not only a first round pick, he'd probably be a top 10 pick. But unfortunately, because of how the NFL has changed, you know, I definitely think he'll play in the NFL. It's just you got to be more of an all purpose back nowadays. So who knows when he'll get drafted, but he's a great player, and I was glad that he was able to show off tonight. So that's great. And then the last thing I would just mention is Ohio State lost the same way that I thought they would lose. They lost because even though that guy McCord ended up having decent statistics, he ain't CJ Stroud, and he lost the game for them. And I think that it's okay for Ohio State fans to have standards, like ridiculous standards, because there is not, and Pat, I would love your opinion on this. There is not a more turnkey college football program in the country than Ohio State. And you can just look back in the last 25 years that Ohio State played football, probably even back to Woody Hayes. They don't have one other school in the state of Ohio that gets anywhere near the amount of recruits out of the state of Ohio. Michigan is their biggest competition in the state of Ohio, maybe Penn State. They get it all. They get their pick. And for you to have allowed Jim Harbaugh to flip the script on you, because Urban Meyer lived rent-free in Jim Harbaugh's head, so much to the point that Jim Harbaugh scrapped his pro-style offense and went to a spread offense. He hired that guy Josh Gaddis. He went out and tried to run a spread offense, and he got embarrassed trying to do it. And then he switched back to running his offense. So I just think that Ryan Day has allowed Jim Harbaugh to flip the script on him. Now Harbaugh lives rent-free in Day's head. It shouldn't be that way. If I was Ohio State, I'd bite the bullet. I'd say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go out and get a better coach than this dude. So that's my opinion.
Oh, man. Andrew, thank you for the call, man. You always mix it up, and you're here. Even in the summer, we're all mixing it up all the time. I realize I love how much you think about this stuff. And even when we don't agree, I know it's coming from something you really thought about. You're not just flying out of your head on. And I respect that.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate the time.
Have a good weekend, Andrew. You take care now.
Real quick, to respond to his turnkey thing. No, that's ridiculous. You cannot put a Tyrone Willingham in there. You cannot put a Bob Davie in there. They would lose. I mean, John Cooper was the coach. So John Cooper's last 2 years, he went 6-6 and 8-4, and they fired him at Ohio State. Then they hired Jim Tressel. Then they had a bad year after Tressel got fired for free tattoos for everybody when Luke Fickell was their interim coach, and then they had Urban Meyer. So the successes that are being imagined upon Ohio State. I mean, Cooper himself went 111 and 43. He lost quite a few games when he was at Ohio State over his 12 years. So it is not turnkey. No program is turnkey. You need a good coach. That's
it's, man, I just struggle with, I mean, a lot of this just depends on how you want to look at things and what angle you're looking at them from. We got to talk about this $200 holler from Tiffany Dowling here. The Dowling family, they're great to us, man. Adam comes up with all the tailgate solutions, where to park, cooking up everything. Tiffany was out there helping us set up everything for the tailgate. These people are my close friends in real life now, and I really appreciate them. She delivers the $200 holler with that real estate cash she's got. She the queen of Northwest Indiana. If you need a house along that border, give her a call. Agree to disagree with this caller. Freeman also didn't get the OC that he wanted. He's brought in fire recruits, mostly young. Agree with Pat in his opening comments. Next year will be different, but to say Freeman is the problem right now, that guy's dead wrong. Listen, I understand the frustration. But again, I'm going to ask, are the Ohio State people that sure you could find anybody and they'd only lose one game, maybe a year? Like that's the tough thing to me is you just don't know what you're asking for when you get to that point. It could be a lot better. It could be worse. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a wild one because he loses like one game a year. It's just the one they can never lose. It's messed up. But I used to do the F thing for Notre Dame every year they didn't win a title. before I did this show. I can't just come on every year and go F, because it leaves you nowhere to work. It leaves you nowhere to work. If everything's just a fail, then that means there's no level between F or A plus. There's no level in between then. And I struggle with that because then I can't gauge up and down. The other thing, then I'll go back to, we got 2 more calls. If you're on the line, hang on, I'll get to you. Here's the other thing. Everybody knows I want Freeman to succeed, and I want him to be the guy that gets this all right. But I'm no part of me saying Freeman ain't the problem. Freeman's perfect. Everything he's doing is great, and it's all the players and the assistants, and Freeman doesn't need to get better himself. I've never said that. Freeman needs to get better. He's got to tighten up the in-game stuff, have the team more prepared for these environments. Nobody's saying, I'm not saying, Pat's not saying, I don't know, you can't blame Freeman for anything this year. Yep. Nobody's saying that. Like, it's just all has to be all or nothing. Either Freeman's the best coach in the world to me and Pat, and everybody else wants him fired. There's like no middle ground. I like a lot of things about him, and there's a lot of things he's not great at right now and that need to be better and that I hope would be better this year and that work. It doesn't mean I'm ready to bail on him, but it bothers me when if you're a Freeman guy, then it just means that you blindly support everything he does and he never has to get better. No. He's got to improve in a lot of areas.
There was only one coach I ever wanted to see get fired before their 5 years are up, and that was Tyrone Willingham. But if you went and looked at what Tyrone Willingham did to Washington after he got fired by Notre Dame, that's what he was going to do to Notre Dame. So it was completely justified to fire Tyrone Willingham. Biggest mistake Notre Dame ever made. They should have kept George O'Leary. I didn't give up on Brian Kelly before his 5 years were up. I didn't give up on Charlie Weiss or Bob Davie before their 5 years were up. I'm not going to give up on Marcus Freeman. He's going to get his 5 years. In Charlie's in his 5th season, I said, yeah, this guy, he's not going to do it. He needs to go. But in his, I'm going to give the same to Freeman. He deserves that. And people who are not, unless he is a complete total disaster like Willingham was, where you had no talent and you weren't winning games, you're not being honest to what the respect that you should give to a coach.
Fair enough. I got it 859 and then 219. 859. Good evening.
Hey John, I'll be good. Okay, because I have Andrew was annoying. I know he's a friend of yours. How old do you think he is roughly?
Around my age, late 30s, probably mid 20s.
Okay, for the love of God. You guys, I know I've seen 3 titles in my lifetime. You guys want to run Lou Holtz out of town. You guys you don't think I'm frustrated? I'm hoping to get to 80. I'd like to see a title before a guy calls me home. This was a disappointing year. I get it. But you guys want to fire everybody. Is it just clicks? I mean, for the love of God, are these people stupid? I mean, come on. I understand. I text you. Where's the estimate? I get the defaults. But if today's social media would have broken Lou Holtz down, you would have fired him. These people are clueless. Get it. And here's the other thing. He's going to do the work. And who wants the job? Oh, let's fire Freeman. He doesn't know he's clueless. Let's fire Freeman. Who's going to come in today's constraints? And by the way, we didn't have NLL back then. We didn't have the transfer portal. For the love of God, are these people stupid? Or is this just all a hype? For the love of God, please.
It's just people want it all to be one thing or all the other, man. The middle's not a popular place to be. The middle's...
I'm old. You honestly think when I got my degree, walking out the door in May of 1989, that in my class, we said, we won it. Our senior class, we were never going to win it again?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? We still cry about this.
Yeah.
And I saw 2 other titles when I was younger enough. And you guys, I guess that's a new generation. I'm not all the hip and all that. I'm not technically that bad. But come on. For the love of God, he cares about Notre Dame. He gets Notre Dame. Let's break down the coaches. You want to do that show? The class. You know why the little clown from Washington got fired? That was racial. He wouldn't recruit. He got 3 years because we weren't on probation. We had 50 scholarship players. Let's break that one down. Let's break down Daffy Duck, which was Bob Davie. Come on. And Charlie White, he was lazy. He was lazy.
Oh, Charlie was lazy. He was arrogant.
And then, John, this is where I'm going to argue with you to hell. If we can stick that son of a bitch, Brian Kelly, I want him this year, and then I want him in a big game. I want to stick that liberal son of a bitch and make him cry. Are you kidding me? And if you don't get fired up for that game, John, then you don't live and die in Notre Dame. I'm sorry.
Oh, Tim.
And I didn't cuss. I was good. I did not cuss.
Yeah, you didn't cuss, but you brought up the politics. It's always one or the other, Tim. It's always one or the other.
Well,
the weeks you don't bring up politics, you drop 5 F-bombs. And then when you drop the F-bombs, you do the politics. You're on a rotation.
Well, hey, John,
you're on a rotation. You're on a rotation. Who are you going to piss off every other week?
Hey, John, let me ask you a question. Would you rather have a phony person or a friend?
Oh, God, I know. I just think it's funny, though, that you're like, I didn't cuss. I'm like, well, I can't blame you for that.
I didn't cuss, but I insulted half of the chat.
Why? John, I'm going to be 57 years old. I'm not politically correct. And you know what? Hey, wait a minute. If you didn't like me, you could block me. You didn't have to take the call. You could delete me. I love you to death. I support you. I am who I am.
No. You're entertaining because you never know what you're going to get. Every time I see that number, I'm like, how many beers have we had and what are we going to get? What's the angle going to be? It's always interesting.
You don't realize how much I live and die this.
Oh, I do.
I do.
Oh, I know you get pretty, it's extreme for you. I understand that. It's just kind of.
John, take this next level. I do it with all the sports.
Yeah. It's, and so what's your letter grade for the year then? Give it to me. What's your letter grade for this year then? All your Notre Dame fandom, you being a student when they won it all, how do you look at it then?
B-.
Yeah.
Not C, B-. No, I'll go B. You know why? They got the one win I wanted. I'll go B.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I guess you were holding on to that one. Yeah. I got to give you that.
I love it.
That's why I love Pat. No, and I love these clowns. I know you'll love this. Some clown on, and I don't get into social media, stupid, on Facebook posted, Michigan's a bigger rivalry than USC. And I went off. I said, first of all, I said, sir, how old are you? Second of all, do you realize how many titles USC cost Notre Dame on their air per season at the last game of the year? You have no freaking clue.
Well, the other issue is, don't you got to play like every year for it to be a rivalry like that? Like you don't play Michigan regularly enough for me to even look at that the same. Because you got USC every year. Your outcomes are.
No, the anti-Catholic thing was why they that's why I'll really be depressed. And I hope God calls me home. If we go to the Big Ten, I'm done. Because I don't think we can beat. If we have, and I know we may get forced in there, and I'll just say I'm getting close. God can just call me home because my core. Why? Because it won't matter anymore.
You'll still be here. You'll still be here. But
I know that. But I'm just telling you, we cannot go to the Big Ten. I know we're going to get forced there because I honestly think they're going to do. It's going to be the NFL. We're going to have the AFC and the NFC.
Yeah,
that's what the college football is going to do. And I'm going to count. How the hell they didn't have these board meetings where you got to we got to submit budgets and say, well, are they really making that much more money off this stuff where you're going to take budget losses with all your other sports?
Yeah. Tim, there's a lot of moving parts here, man, but by the
way, do we have the numbers yet?
On
that TV contract?
I haven't seen those numbers yet. Is anybody else? I have not seen a tweet.
Does that not worry you?
It makes.
I bet you we got screwed.
Andrew Gilmore.
Listen to it.
Andrew Gilmore suspects that there may be some contingencies in some of that negotiation that aren't public yet about like outs in the future if Notre Dame had to make a move or do something else. Like, I just have not seen any numbers. I haven't seen any numbers.
Well, I know you don't like Peacock, but if you watch Peacock and how they advertise, they used to be when you had Sunday Night Football. If Notre Dame was on the upcoming game, they'd advertise it. Yeah. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
we're the stepchild, even more than we were prior. We are the stepchild. I mean, I don't know what kind of backhand deal. Swarbrick was collecting $5 million, sitting in Indianapolis. I know he's won the title, but he didn't really live and die in Notre Dame. I can tell you how many times he sold us out on the playoff deal he cut, on a couple things he's done. He didn't live and die. He's like, I don't care. I don't,
Hey, we'll Tim, let me ask you this. Let me ask you, is Parker coming back? Will he be Notre Dame's offense coordinator next year, in your opinion? I'm not asking what you want to happen. I'm asking what you think is going to happen.
Well, when you don't, I like to know, why was it? I sent you a couple texts. Why was an SMA in on a couple key plays? I know we blew them out. That's weak teams. Like you said, remove all that. Do I think Parker can get it done? No. He wasn't the first pick. And Freeman knew that. If he thought this guy was an up-and-coming play card, why wouldn't he hire him in staff? He knew that. So Freeman was the good soldier. So he took that one on the chin. He's not an established coach like Colts was back in the day. John, I don't know. I wish I could give you an answer on that. Yeah. And that's going to create all kind of controversy. But, you realize you brought this up. There's a fraction of Notre Dame. And like Pat nailed it. It's the ego in Notre Dame. It's the freaking ego. Like you say, the little wine cheesers things. Are you kidding me? There's a big problem in that because they don't give a damn. Oh, let's just look at the buildings. As I've told you, when I used to go to the trips by my dad, my mom said I had a great trip. We'd both look only if we win. Bottom line is that fraction's gone. And as we get older and older, it's like a social event. I have friends that have sent. I have 5 close friends from Notre Dame. They all put combined about 12 kids through Notre Dame. It's a different era. It just is. And the problem is, I'm getting close to 60. It's all gone. People don't live and diet. It's not your only place. Like I told you, they recruit academic students anymore. Because I had a friend, the kid got recruited. Like, what? He doesn't play sports. What do you mean got recruited? That's what Notre Dame's become.
Yeah, it's changing, Tim. And all it will take is one elite run, and it'll all come back full circle.
Right. Okay. Here's the other thing about that. You used to have to win 1 game. Then it was just 2. You honestly think we're winning 4 straight games?
Can I worry about getting there before I worry about running through it? We got to worry about getting there first.
Well, Andrew wants to fire a coach because it's not acceptable. Do you know what his tie is to Notre Dame? Because he's so damn negative. That guy annoyed the hell out of me. Why? What is his tie?
Well,
I'd like to know.
He didn't say he wanted to fire Freeman. His problem was with Parker, and I agree with him on Parker.
Yeah, but he's negative on Freeman though too. He wants to run Freeman out of town. If we don't make the playoffs next year, granted, the schedule sets up. It's pretty easy. We got an issue on the quarterback thing, but I mean, you got to look at a lot of different things. Even when the game was put away, why was number 7 in the game? Why didn't you pull Hartman out earlier? You had the game put away, and they didn't let Angeli really throw any passes. If you look at it, they didn't develop this quarterback. What are you going to do in the bowl game? Do you think Hartman? Let me ask you this question: you think Hartman plays?
Didn't Freeman say we got Hartman 2 more games? Kind of insinuating. I thought he said after Wake that we got Hartman 2 more games or whatever. You could argue it would be far more advantageous for the program to not do that and play the younger guys and let it be known we're going to try and win this game and develop them. But I don't know what you're going to get. There's a lot of decisions that are going to come out right after this game. I want to know what's up with the OC. I want to know all that.
I know you want to end tonight. I appreciate you taking my call. Love you guys to death. Pat, who do you want in the bowl game? Ask your buddy Pat if he can hear me. Who do you want in the bowl game?
I don't care. I'm not worried about it. The bowl game for me isn't about if you're not into New Year's 6 or you're not into playoff, the only thing the bowl game is about is practice for next year.
That's what you guys. It always matters if we win. It always matters. Now, it would be fun to bet. Now, I'd love to if not then. I'd like to get Tennessee. That debacle in the '90s when under Holtz, you guys were too young or even not even born yet. When we had a 30-point lead and blew that. Oh my God!
Oh man!
But I'd like to get.
Man, you need to relax your Irish soul, brother. And that's me saying it. I can't believe I'm in a position to tell somebody, but you got to relax your Irish soul, man. You're going to stress yourself into an early grave before Notre Dame wins again.
John, I'm 50. I'm going to be 57 years old. It doesn't matter. If I'm not true to myself, then that's what God made me. So you guys have a great week. Have a great holiday season, and debate who we play. Because if it's Kelly, John, you'll love that because it'll help your numbers.
Well, I hope we win, or I'll never hear the end of it. Have a good weekend, Tim.
I told people, if we lose to Kelly, I'm going off the grid. You like people D-tax? I'll say I'll pop back up because I do about 50 free tax returns. You won't see me till tax season.
Tim, so you're one of a kind, man. You're one of a kind. That's for sure. Have a good one, brother.
Yes, I'm retired. So I'll be off the grid. If we lose to Kelly, if that's the case, I'm done. I won't. I'll send you a text. Hope the family's well. Got a young daughter, but no, I'm done. I won't bother your call. I monitor that, John. I know if you need callers or not. I'd stir it up a little bit, but love you guys. Take care and have a great holiday season.
Have a good one, man. Holy shit. There's just a lot there. I never know what I'm going to get. I never know what I'm going to get. You never know. And I never know the intake level, Pat, because he varies. I never know what I'm going to get. Look at this, Pat. Do you remember this? GBank 5_ you had no one's more angry as an Irish fan in their late 30s. I had a great conversation with John about this 2 rows from the top of ND Stadium at Central. Do you remember the guy that walked by? Yeah. And leaned over and we were talking to him. Nice to see you, man. It all comes full circle. It all comes full circle. Pat, what about this? Anybody defending freedom just doesn't want to start over. Too many head scratching mistakes to ignore.
I don't think we're ignoring them. Number one. Number two, I think we had a full expectation that there were going to be some head scratching mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think the problem for like the 10 guy thing, that was bad. That was really, really bad.
Yep.
You were coming out of a timeout. So there was definitely an issue there that I don't know who do you put. It falls on Freeman, but was it on the D-line coach? Was it on Golden? Was it on who's counting? Who's counting that? Yeah, that was horrific. That was a horrific decision. The play clock stuff, all that. It's just you were expecting some of this stuff. He's still learning. I'm not expecting Nick Saban type coaching from Marcus Freeman right now.
Yeah, but you're expecting a full complement of players to be on the field for the biggest moment in the biggest game, right?
I would agree. That's the most of the other stuff. So there are probably 2 things I can't get over. Some of the personnel decisions and the 10 guy thing. The rest of it, it's you're learning and you're gonna have it. Look at that. What was that Miami game? Hell, Dan Lanning did it in the Washington game. He screwed up that game too. Oregon should have won that game. You're gonna have these mistakes. No coach is perfect, but he's learning. He's learning. The biggest thing for me coming into this season was, does he not have the mistakes he had last year where he lost to really bad football teams that couldn't even go to a bowl game? No, he didn't. That's it, man. In fact, he flipped the script and blew those teams out by 20 to 30 points. That's an improvement. Not the full level improvement I wanted to see. I want people to understand. I gave him a B because he isn't reaching the level of improvement that I want from him, but he's still improving. That's like everyone thinks, oh, you think it's great. I don't think it's great. I'm actually criticizing him, but people don't want to look past the fact that they just hear that I'm saying that there's improvement. I totally forget everything. The 10-man thing was terrible, unexcusable mistake.
GH212 said he is learning. This is Notre Dame, but that needed to be an argument made the minute they hired him, not 2 years down the road, because you should have known when they hired him that he was going to have to learn. Like, you had to sign up for some of that. When you hired that young coach, everybody needed to know that some of that was going to be there. However, I'm feeling like the learning curve needs to be a little quicker. I'm fine with learning, but I need the curve to be quicker.
I totally agree. Like, that's my problem with this. He's doing things that I would expect a coach to do, but at the same time, he's showing that he's learning from his mistakes. Is he doing it at the rate I want him to do it? No. Am I worried that next year he isn't going to have this team in a position to win a national championship? Absolutely. I think this team, talent-wise, we'll see what the quarterback position provides, but I think this team, talent-wise, could be in that position. I think from a coaching perspective, it's not. That's not spin. There's no agenda. That's just the way it is. I'm calling it like I see it. Somebody tell me how I'm spinning when I say this coaching staff has not shown to be capable of leading this team to a national championship next year. That's my assessment. How's that spin?
It's just really, really frustrating. Like, you and I are two of the people that have all these standards for Notre Dame and excellence and all this, and this whole show's about that. None of that's changed. It's just the all or nothing nature of this puts you in a philosophical no-go land. Like, there's nowhere to navigate in the middle. Everybody either wants you to be 100% Freeman. He doesn't have to change anything as long as it's Freeman and his personality. It's perfect the way it is. Or fire the guy. There's 80 miles of middle ground to navigate in between both.
Why can't we acknowledge improvement, but also continue to criticize problems? I don't understand that. I don't. You know what else? One of the things I was most pissed off about was the Monday morning press conference after Clemson, or it wasn't after Clemson. It was because they had the bye week, so it was before the Pitt game, and the first question he gets is about like what player or like who's in concussion protocol or something. And it's like, why is not the first question asked by the Notre Dame media, who's calling the plays for your offense this week? Why do you not put that on the spot? That's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted to hear. So if I had the opportunity to ask Freeman a question, that would have been the very first question I asked him.
Oh, all right. Let's see what Adam has. Going to be the one of the last calls or the last call of the night. What's going on, Adam? Hey, thank you guys for the donation. Means the world to me. Tell the wife.
Guys, how you doing? Pat, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, Adam?
What do you think of all this? I know you've been hearing everything going on, man. Where do you fall on any or all of this?
I'm listening to everything, and the reason I had the call is, you know, Andrew, I respect your opinion, and you have some good points, but the problem is when you decided to hire Marcus Freeman, a 36-year-old man, back after that Fiesta Bowl that had never done the head job, the point was you were going to give him time to learn on the job, learn with his coordinators, do the recruiting. You hired him to recruit and build something. So you were going to have patience and have a couple years of him. He was flipping this roster. If you guys don't remember, right, in 2021, do you remember that first half of the year that we were getting sacked like 8 times a game? Do you remember that season? Like, that team, that was the weakest schedule I can remember in my lifetime that Notre Dame played. And we ended up in the Fiesta Bowl, but that team had flaws. And you decided to hire Marcus when Brian Kelly bolted on the team because of his recruiting. And he was gonna need years to flip this roster and build it. And John, I know this for a fact because of friends I have. The freshmen that you are seeing on this field right now that you're loving the youth,
you would not have on this roster. They would never be in South Bend if they wouldn't have hired Marcus Freeman. And you know that.
That's a
These
fact.
guys you love.
That's a fact. From families.
I have a friend that his son is on the team. They would never be there if it wasn't for Marcus Freeman. All the players that you guys love seeing right now would never be there.
If it weren't for Marcus.
So stop with the Marcus Freeman stuff. You have to give him.
Yeah, get your wife on the air. Get her on. Tiffany, let it out, Tiffany. Let it go, baby. Let it go, sister.
We just wanted to call real quick because, like, we are passionate. We have friends who are involved. We have friends who play on the team.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, it literally, like, does come down to Marcus's passion, his charisma. Like, you can't, either you have charisma or you don't. And I get that charisma doesn't win football games, but that's why Pat, like, I keep reverting back to, like, what he said at the beginning of the show. Yes, next year can be a different, like, none of us wanted to lose, but at the end of the day, like, we didn't get the offensive coordinator we wanted, right?
Correct.
So, sorry for interrupting. Adam's like mad at me for interrupting, but like we wanted to make it short and sweet. But at the end of the day, like
the whole point is, if you would have hired a guy with 20 years of head coaching experience and he's done, maybe you could hold him to the fire. But you made that decision after the Fiesta Bowl to go with a guy because of his recruiting that you were going to give him the time.
Yeah.
So next year's going to be a youth movement. It really is. It's going to be. Let's be honest. The schedule lightens up a little bit, but it's going to be a youth movement.
Yeah.
So we're going to all have to kind of settle down that 2025 is really the year. If you don't see what you like in the next 2 years, okay, you can say, Marcus Freeman, we're done with you. But we made the decision after that Fiesta Bowl to deal with it till 2025. In 2025, he will have a full roster of his guys.
Yeah, I get that. People, they don't have the patience now. I feel like you understand that in the moment when they hire Freeman, everybody's like kind of excited and you're like, oh, there's going to be a learning curve. And now that we're suffering through the learning curve, people just want it to be a quicker curve. And I understand that, but it's a tough spot to be, man. I understand why people are frustrated, but you also got to understand a year 2 guy it ain't going to be a finished product.
How would it look if we would have gotten the offensive coordinator that he wanted? Is all I'm saying. Maybe it would have.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that could have changed. There's a lot of things if we could go back. But we made the decision. Listen, we did it for the long road. And all these freshmen that are starting to show out on this team right now would not be here if it was for Marcus Freeman. So we'd be farther behind. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, man, it's tough. It's just tough. Everybody's kind of frustrated, man. It's not the year that we envisioned, and Hartman didn't provide what we envisioned this looking like, and there's disappointment there. So I don't know.
A little bit worse than we thought. We all thought 10-2. We ended up 9-3. I mean, honestly, most of us thought 10-2, right?
Yeah, well, Pat had him 9-3, and I was at 10-2. Leeway 1 up, 1 down for what I called football circumstance. And here we are, 1 down. I'm not saying I love it. I'm not saying I love it. I'm saying it's where I thought we'd be.
And if we're being honest, we probably thought the offense would look better and the defense would look worse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of what we thought. And I just feel I just don't feel like coaches, yeah, they lost us a few games, but guess what? We, in the end of 2021, we signed up to, and almost everybody that called the show was pro Freeman, right? Everyone wanted Marcus. Did anybody want anybody else? Did they want Luke Fickell?
Yeah,
that was the hot name back then, right?
That's the other thing I would want to know. Everybody wants to drop Freeman out the back end of the bus. I would like to know who their short list is, because you could end up. I just don't want to be here.
So Lincoln Riley's 7-5 in his second year. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Adam, those fans are going to say who chose. Notre Dame chose. Those fans are going to say the hell with who chose. I didn't choose to have to go along with this learning curve. They chose it, and I don't like it. We didn't choose it. They chose it, and everybody's stuck with it. Right? That's what they're going to say back to you.
I think I could go back on our social media, and you can find almost everybody loving the Marcus Freeman hire.
Yeah.
I don't remember many people hating that hire. And when you made the hire, it was for the long term. He was going to need to flip this entire roster. I mean, there was times this year we didn't even have 5 scholarship receivers on the field. I mean, guys, this is a long-term thing to rebuild. We can't just go get a bunch of transfers and fill the roster. This is years of recruiting that was going to have to rebuild what COVID and Brian Kelly stopped recruiting. Now, starting next year, I understand we're going to be young and quarterback, but from next year on, now it's Freeman's. It is almost 100% his. So there'll be no excuses anymore. But what I'm saying is that I don't want to throw it all on him right now. We signed up for a 4 to 5 year thing, and let's see what he can do.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's just, it never ends with Notre Dame. There's never any clear answers. There's never just a right or wrong. There's gray area everywhere you look. That's just the way it is for us. You guys, I really appreciate your friendship. Thanks for everything. You're always involved in everything. Have my back. Help the show. Help the tailgate. Like, we love you guys. And now we got to get out there and go have some drinks and relax, not football related. That's the next thing we need to do.
Oh, definitely, guys. Definitely.
Man, you know how much fun that would be to just not worry about the football and just be able to have a dinner and drink beer? Like, I'm looking forward to it.
Like that would ever happen. If we had dinner, it'd be about football.
I know, but I'm trying to be normal. Can you even let me fake like I'm normal for 5 minutes? Come on.
It'll be all right.
All right. You guys have a good weekend. Thank you, Tiffany, Adam. I love you guys. Take care. Have a good one. See ya. Oh, man. Pat, this is a long journey we've been on. This is a long journey we've been on. It really is. Do you have anything to wrap it up? That's going to do it for the night. I got a couple things. I just wanted to say, number one, thank you to everybody in this community, everybody that's joined, almost everybody. Most of the people that have been around here and they call in and donate and want to be a part of the group and all that kind of stuff, man, it means the world to me. There is none of this without you. I couldn't grow it without you. Have events, have the phone lines. Everybody involved that's ever supported it, put in a chat, watched it, thumbs up, donated, called. Love all you. There is none of this without you. Pat, that also goes to you, man. You sit there and deal with all of this stuff and deal with the people and try and keep us on track. I really appreciate it. Angela, thank you. You're always here. Nikki, Dean, always here as well. Appreciate you guys. It's been a wild year. Pat, the idea is one of these years, Notre Dame is going to be in a position to do something great. And we are talking about elite. And we are. Blyberg just puts F. Like, he's not going to give it up at the very end of this. F. Tom, I love you, man. Tom, we want to go have a beer with you. Andrew, too. We'll just have a big debate. We'll take over the back of the bar and have Notre Dame debates. But all you guys, seriously, you're fantastic. But Pat, I appreciate your help along the way, too.
Anytime, buddy. Anytime.
Any closing thoughts?
It's going to be a long off season.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a long off season, and there's always stuff to debate, and that's just the way it's going to go. Thank you for all of the kind words.
Hey, anyone else cheering for Alabama next week?
Yeah, whatever, man. Whatever. Like, Pat, you know it's bad when your team's so far out of it that you can't even root for other teams to do things that line you up to be in it. We're out of it. I just can't.
Yep.
It sucks. Everybody, thank you very much for just for being here. I really do. It means the world to me.
Maybe we do a live show during the bowl game, during one of those bowl games, or not bowl game. I mean, not the bowl game. I'm talking about next week, conference championships.
Yeah, that could be fun to do too. And I don't give a shit about any of them, so I'll be relaxed. Yeah, we'll do some fun stuff. But again, thank you guys for a fun year. Stressful, man. These shows are an emotional roller coaster in the moment right after a game. Good or bad, we ride it, and it's just we've had some long nights together, and I just appreciate you being here. Look at that. Lights out, baby. Lights out. That's it.
I'm not turning it on.
Everybody. Have a good one.